Hey everybody, welcome back to the second episode of The Council. It has been a few weeks, almost 2 months I think, since our last gathering, but we're back with episode 2, YubYub, and joining us once again we have Anton. How you doing, Anton?
I'm good.
He's looking good as well, my friend. There are some good, well-maintained white glossy ears there. We have David. I don't even. Where did you get that stick from? Is that just from your garden?
Well, it's actually on the landing upstairs. It's one my son decided he needed to keep. So.
Oh, good call. Good call. And last but very not least, we have JP, John Paul Golightly. Hi, John Paul.
All right, guys.
How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad.
Good, looking good. Pleasure to have you all back. You may be wondering why we're dressed like this. It will all become apparent as we move through the show. But let's kick off with some of the usual sections. Section 1, news. Anton, I don't know if you want to go into Imperial Entanglements. It's not here on our shores yet, is it?
No, but just today, if you're tuning into it's Monday the 28th, just heard that it's gone to shipping on the up and coming page. So are we going to see it in the next? Hope so.
Yeah, because America's not even had it on their stores, have they? So
no.
So what, 2-3 weeks for them, maybe a month for us.
Yeah,
maybe
mid-October. End.
It's only a week for them, isn't it? Shipping means it's shipping out from them to on the boat is getting to FSG, and then shipping should be a week to American stores and 2 for us, I think.
Okay, that'll be good. Give us a. Well, I guess the next question following on from that is: have they announced whether it will be legal for Worlds yet?
Well, I think they did a statement on Twitter, I believe, because a lot of people were talking about the other card game, Game of Thrones, and they promised everyone's going to be out the middle of October. So maybe we could assume it's on the same boat as that.
Okay.
They kind of said we'll almost guarantee you're going to have second edition by October 17th, I think it was, because a lot of people have purchased tickets for Worlds and are basically going to have 2 weeks to learn the game.
Yeah.
So could be on the same boat, could be, hopefully.
Well, that's, because I guess moving on to the next bullet point, Worlds, we had an announcement on the prizes, which a couple of new shiny toys that they put in there that haven't been in previous prize kits. They've added in, I'll put a picture in the middle here, but there's affiliation prizes for those players who are the best at their affiliation, and we're not quite sure what that means as yet. A lot of people have been discussing that in Star Wars it's quite odd. It's a bit backwards in that your main deck, you might have 8 Sith pods, but your affiliation will be scum. So
yeah,
how will that break down when they give the prizes? I don't think they've given a full answer on that one yet. But also in that prize announcement, I don't think they mentioned anything about what cards will be legal. So hopefully they will post something up soon on that.
It did say in the FAQ for Gen Con that it wouldn't be legal there.
Yeah.
It specifically called it out. So presumably if it has been released, it will be legal.
It will be legal. Or we might be expecting, that could mean that we were expecting another FAQ.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Last year, I think we got one around October, didn't we? I think it may have even said Between the Shadows won't be legal if it was available, which would end up not being available.
Was that the FAQ to May the Force be with you? And
No, the one before, the one that released last October, because they did a updated fact for every game.
Oh yeah. So sounds like we're expecting a bit more news coming out of FFG on Worlds and what will be legal, and maybe the structure of the prizes a little bit more as well. So watch this space. And finally, in the general news section, John Paul, I don't know, you've been looking into this quite a lot. We've had a bit of interest in a European event next year to kind of sit between the national events and then Worlds. Someone asked, I think it was on Card Game DB, would there be any interest for a European championship? So, JP, I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, I think I cannot remember the user ID of the guy who started the conversation. I believe it's the guy who won the Polish Nationals. He was kind of just saying, would anybody be interested in doing it? And we'll put one in Poland if you wanted, kind of thing. And then there was just this response out of nowhere from some guys who've been behind the scenes secretly organising an event which is going to be happening in Barcelona next year, in July, which It's just pretty much end of regionals. Is that end of regional season, July?
Yeah, it tends to be end of June, early July, doesn't it? The last regionals for us in the UK, at least.
Yeah.
Don't worry, guys. They'll have the Endor cycle released, and they'll have the next deluxe released by then, because Spain always gets their cards early.
True.
I've already downloaded Google Translate on my phone. Spanish cards. Yeah, so it's something to look forward to. Something that people to go to. I know I've got permission to go, so.
Oh, good man. Oh. Good man. Already.
Yeah, I've got
Okay. Yeah, well, I think it'll be one of those. It'd be good to see. I know a lot of the people, our friends over in America, have said like they'd even have come to the UK nationals if they'd had enough kind of warning to do it and try and arrange a trip and make it cost effective. So, God, we've got what 8-9 months warning there. So
yeah,
that's perfect. Hopefully, see some of you guys over there, and if a bunch of us can get a car down and drive it or fly, make a bit of a trip of it.
You got a flying car?
You got a flying car, DeLorean, mate.
Awesome.
DeLorean. But yeah, so I know it's over 2 days, July 16th and 17th. They're going to do, depending on the number of players who turn up, they've got 2 different venues, I think you said, John.
Yeah, there was kind of, if we hit X, we have venue for that. If we hit Y, there's an even bigger venue for that. So it all sounds like it's been well planned and well organised. So
yeah.
Should be something to look forward to.
2v2 event and a bunch of crazy side events where everyone kind of does a swingers party, builds a deck, shoves it in a bowl and draws one out every round. So that'd be fun. So yeah, again, we'll as more details are announced, keep an eye on the Card Game DB thread for that. I'll put a link in the description, but we'll keep you updated as we get closer to the time on that one. So that's it for general news, I think. So we'll move on to a bit more local news for us here in the UK. We had our nationals a little under a month ago, early September, I think it was, in Birmingham at the Copthorne Hotel, hosted very graciously by the guys at Gamerz Nexus down in Essex. They also had a regional that was one of our biggest regionals this year, and that was run by is it Lee Singleton? I want to say it's Lee Singleton. So huge props to Lee. He did a great day running both, I think, a Thrones event for 1.0 and the Star Wars UK National, our first UK National. And it was a great job, very smoothly run. And I can't remember who went on to win that. Some guy, that guy, John Paul. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you.
Such a good day. Pleasure to watch you work. Anton as well made the top cut and got quite deep into the cut. Third or fourth, I think, were you, Anton?
Yeah.
So you guys both really went quite deep into the event, got some good swag. And I think we'll just spend a few minutes just poking you and prodding you, getting your thoughts on the day. So I guess without further ado, I mean, both of you, JP, Anton, what were your thoughts? Looking back, you played a hell of a lot more games than most others on that day.
There was a lot of crazy decks there. There was a lot. I went there that weekend just expecting the generics, the popular deck. There was so many crazy things going on, and a lot of Game of Thrones guys came over as well, and some of their selections was a bit offbeat and just really good fun. And I never had the same game twice. I never played the same deck twice, which was a pleasant surprise as well. So I'm sure it was the same for Anton. I don't know which.
Yeah, I almost got caught out by a couple of off decks. It scared the hell out of me. I was like, oh my god, I haven't seen these cards for 2 years. What am I going to do?
Yeah, what does he do?
What's attack pattern Delta do?
But yeah, there was a good turnout. I think there was I want to say high 20s, low 30s.
Yeah, about that.
Which is pretty. I think our biggest regional this season was 16, 18-ish.
Yeah, I think the Gamerz Nexus one was around the 18 mark. So
yeah. So it was a really good turnout for our first nationals. Not quite as big as Paris, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
So, Anton, any thoughts for you generally on the day? I mean, you were one of those guys. JP laughs about some of the Thrones players turning up with crazy decks.
Yeah.
You did the same.
it weren't that crazy. And so I can't owe it all to myself. I had a lot of help from on Octagon from our American friends and French friends, and thanks to a guy called Trajan, I got the idea for the pilot Vader and just ran with it, and it sort of almost got me there.
It did. It did. It got you what? It got you through to, like, say, third/4th, I think. And only falling at the last hurdle to the eventual to JP to the winner that took it all. So, and that was a great game to watch, and we've got that and more games recorded actually. So you'll see that come up on the channel as well.
Was Mine and Atlantis recorded? Was it?
Oh,
I couldn't remember if we were on table 1 or not.
No, well, you were on only game going on at the time. So. But a huge congratulations to the other guys who made the top cut. I know Sam Pigden made the winners bracket final, I think, but then dropped down and had to leave for a train back to his home turf down in London. And one of your local players as well, Anton.
Callum Gillespie, great player.
Made the final versus John Paul. And got there via the winners bracket. So actually, John Paul did a really good showing and forced 2 games out of Callum. So again, keep an eye out for those games on the channel and check them out. But we have got some specific questions for JP and Anton, I guess, as well. If you want to chime in on any of these, please feel free. The first ones, we'll just do a quick overview of, just broadly, don't have to go all 50 cards, but your decks, gentlemen. Anton, we'll start with you.
I've got to try and remember now. So the special on the dark side was 2 Pilot Vader, 1 Thrawn, so it was Imperial Navy, and then I ran 2 Palps, 1 Saris, 1 Mara, 1 Vader, 1 Executor, and I think that was it, and 2 Council. And for the light side, I did a sort of Owen, Obi-Wan, Trixie, Carl, Jumpy deck.
Mono Jedi, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So again, classic Anton. Was that 13, 12 or 13?
11. Both had 11.
Both had 11. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I learnt my lesson this time. So toned it down a bit.
It's always the need to go over 10, though, Anton. Is there? What's your thinking behind that?
I just never feel I have enough tools.
Well, they did you well. I mean, no one can sit there and say 10 pods is the must to make it anywhere in the tournament. So, congratulations, JP. How about you?
Dark side, Navy affiliation. 2 Thrawns, and then the rest was Sith. 2 Palpatine, 2 Vader, of course. 2 Council, 2 Mara.
2 Mara.
2 Mara.
2 Mara. That was ballsy. So no Executor, no Holocron for the resource.
No, I've fallen out of love with the Executor a while ago. Mara, it was Rebels.
Right. Yeah.
Mara's lightsaber.
It's the attachment, targeted strike, and all that jazz. So how many resources are in that deck then? I guess you've got
still 6. It's just it's 6 libraries, so you're not going to get a Holocron boost or the Cerese's location boost. So you can never get Palpatine out for a while.
6, I guess. Plus you've got the advisors in there as well, haven't you?
Yeah. You've got the living resources. So 2 advisors, 6 libraries, encyclopedia.
Done. And on the light side,
Jedi affiliation. 2 Core Luke, 2 May the Force be with you, 2 Kyle Katarn, 2 Uncle Owens, 1 Balance Obi, 1 Secrets of the Guardians. Secrets of Yavin 4.
Secrets of the Grandmas, yeah.
Choke grannies.
Yeah, we have been joking that we're going to get T-shirts made for Worlds that just say, I choke grannies, and then see how offended people get.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess quite a lot.
Depends on the artwork.
Yeah, we'll have to think carefully about that. Keep it PG. But yeah, I guess, so that leads on to some specific questions then from the community and from a couple of us as well, JP. So it's quite convenient. You ended on the light side deck there. So I know in the run-up to the event and even on the night before when we were playing some warm-up tournaments, you were pretty much testing, a lot of people as well, were pretty much exclusively playing Falcon Splash into Jedi.
Yeah.
And you changed it. And I know, well, we were playing that, like I say, for a good month or two beforehand in testing. And then on the night before, we went for a chat and we both actually changed it. I know why I did, but care to elaborate on that?
Yeah, 2 reasons I changed it. It was I didn't enjoy playing it. I prefer mono Jedi, so that was one of the reasons. The other reason was when we went to the Gamerz Nexus regional in London, Essex, there's a lot of scum players down there, and there seemed to be the day before a lot of scum players in Birmingham, so I just boost Nova in combination with wasn't my play style, wasn't my preferred way to play, so I just thought I like me Wolfmen, so because it was Obi was what I dropped, Obi and the Grannies was what I dropped for the Falcon, and that's some nice free Wolfmen edge. Play it safe, play it slow, take time. That was my reason for dropping the Falcon. I love Twist of Fate.
Yeah, because you've only got one in that deck now, haven't you?
Yeah, just the one. But then I get C-3PO back, which he came in handy. So I mean, everything was used at some point during the day, and I'm sure everything from the Falcon would have been used just to.
Yeah, and I guess you get an extra supporting fire from the Obi-Wan as well.
Yeah, you get the extra support fire, a nice little force cleansing, which comes in handy. And ironically, I never played Scum once.
Yeah, that's it. Because I remember in the warm-up tournament, the one moment that made me go, "Ooh, maybe not the Falcon." And I think maybe it was for the same for you.
It was against me. I think I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, the chap who was running the best that credits can buy.
Yeah, that's like
force choked like Vader, but then also pinged Vader onto the Falcon, and you were like, okay, right, yeah, good, I'm going to bounce the Falcon. No, you're not.
Yeah.
And then the Falcon dies.
How I completely forgot that set. The damaged vehicles cannot trigger card effects, I think it says.
Yeah.
To that extent anyway, and I just thought, you swine.
That's a dead Falcon.
Yeah, I'm going to die. There's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
And I thought, maybe some other people will bring that. I'd missed it. I'd completely forgot about it's Prince Sizer. No, it's not Prince Sizer. It's Virago.
Virago pod, yeah.
Virago, yeah. Completely forgot about that pod.
And that, for me, just we both changed our decks for that and a couple of other reasons. Pretty close to the event. But it just goes to show there's like even when something is clearly, I think even we'd all agree that's probably still the most powerful.
Yeah.
One of, at least, the most powerful light side decks. You've got a couple of Rebel decks in there as well. There are answers to it. And I think that's... I'm really loving the state that this game is in with the amount of cards that are now in the pool. There are just answers to most things. They might not be the answers you're used to, but yeah.
It's forcing people to go back to the drawing board. So.
Okay, so the next question comes from Anton. I won't ask it. I might as well, seeing as he's here.
Right. So in our game, first turn, I mistakenly played Vader's tie turn 1. If I hadn't have played it, what would you have done in that first edge battle, which was so important?
Yeah, Vader's tie. That was so scary. I was alarmed by the objective flop, and then that turned out, and I was like, "What is Anton running?" He's been silly again. But yeah, I seen that and I was like, I have you now. And luckily, one of my flops was a Hero's Beginning, and one of the 3 cards underneath was Support and Fire. And I was like, I need that card. It's a lifesaver. It's my new favorite card. I was just every edge battle. I needed to make sure I had at least 4 or 5 cards ready to throw in, and then. I was doing how many councils has he got? How many twists does he have? I was like, no. Very scary. Because you'd edge close formations, I think, as well. So which has 2 pips. Anyway, I knew you had the set, and I was like, no. But yeah, if you didn't play him, that could have been a very nasty surprise. And that's like I say, you played in turn 1, didn't you? So
yeah. And you had Yoda, and I was like, oh, if I can get rid of Yoda, I can get a start in this game. Okay.
Looking forward to the video.
Yeah, I think we all are. I'll try and get through them pretty quickly. Okay, I'll take the next one. And then Dave, if you want to pick one from the further down the list and go with that. So I'll go with which deck performed. I guess one for you both actually. Which deck for you performed better on the day? Because I think we're a year ago. Everyone expects to, as long as you can win a few with the dark side, you're doing okay and win all your light side games. I don't think that's the same anymore. So it'd be interesting to hear your answers on this one.
Yeah. You want to go first, Ant?
Yeah, surprisingly, my deck probably performed evenly, which is a bit strange. I had some great dark side games, obviously with a surprise, and then there's just some where it just did not. I couldn't find the I have you nows, and I just got overrun by Jedi decks that just exploded too quickly. And the same with the Jedi ones. There were some games where I was bouncing Kyle first turn and doing loads of stuff, and then other games where I just couldn't get anything to stick. So some got me out of trouble, and I just had to grind my way to the top cut. But yeah, so pretty even for me.
Okay, JP.
Running up to the event, I've been saying it for a while, and some people thought I was joking, and some people agreed with me. It was just dark side deck. It felt unbeatable. I think several events it lost once or twice, and it was consistent across the board. There was enough mains in the deck. Even if you got Palpatine too early, he's a brilliant edge card, and it was on fire. On the day itself, I think it lost to Rebels once. I should have really kept account of what was happening, but I think it started that badly I'd given up. But yeah, Rebels were a problem and continue to be a problem, but I never had any issues with any Jedi decks I played against.
Yeah.
So,
and what do you think? Bit of a follow on. What do you think happened? Because again, it's a Sith. You've got 6 or 8 core Sith pods in there. Mm-hmm. So I know the answer is going to be what the other 2 were. But what do you think has happened to that deck to make it so consistent and such a powerhouse? Is it the blue man? Or
no, I don't think it was the blue man. Yeah. Right. The answer is yes, the blue man, but not for the reason people think. The answer is yes, it's the blue man, because the blue man doesn't have a resource.
Yeah.
So I took Mara because Mara has the resource. So my resources was Council, Mara, Palpatine. Whereas previous times, if you didn't have the blue man, you may have had the Executor. So you may have had too many resources, so you may have dropped Mara for something else. Or by including the blue man invader meant there's your 4 pods with no resources. If you want to have 6 in your deck, you've now got to, and that's when the choice of Mara was forced. It was Mara or Cerise, and I went with Mara because of the potential 3 unit damage. Then it just clicked, and then I just realized it's actually destroying Jedi far quicker than it can. Still struggled against the Rebels, and it was just doing so much better. And Mara lost her edge when Kyle was big, and then Kyle's popularity had dropped a bit. So then first turn Mara's seemed to be it's a thing again. A lot of the Jedi players I play against, a lot of them have dropped Kyle in favor of other sets. So apart from that, that's yes, the blue man, but not entirely because of the blue man.
Yeah.
The other choices for if you had the Executor, you've got 1 less main unless it's very rare you play the Executor. So
yeah, and I think there's a couple of. I think you're right when you say it's Thrawn, the blue man, but not because it's just Thrawn on the table. The number of times I saw Thrawn just sitting there not doing much,
yeah,
and just allowing I'm going to go swing with Vader where previously I would never have done that. It's like swinging into Vader into a Kyle, and you're like, oh god, if he's got a heat or a lightsaber deflection, that's a dead Vader. That would be game in any other situation. Whereas the lightsaber player has to go, well, if I block with Kyle now, he's just going to focus Thrawn to focus me, and Kyle's dead.
Yeah.
So Thrawn, I think, it's not bad if you find yourself as you're the only main on your table, but I think he's better in a supporting role, and I think you'd hit the nail on the head there with.
Yeah, I mean, he's great at supporting. You never want him first turn. Everyone, he costs 4. Don't play him first. Do not commit him.
Yeah, you don't want to.
Yeah, but yeah, Thrawn, but not for the obvious reasons.
Yeah. Okay. Dave, do you want to have you pick one from the list or one of your own?
Yeah. Actually, a side question before I ask that one. Then you said you were struggling against rebels a bit. Do you think Saris and Deadly Sight might have helped you out there, or would that have made you too weak against Jedi?
I don't know. The event is obviously a lot better against rebels than it is Jedi, but then having two of Mara Jade's lightsabers in your deck, it's a difficult one. I played with both, and I think if I got told beforehand I was going to have a game against the rebels, I don't know if I would swap Mara out for Therese. I would just play the same and hope to get the lightsabers out quicker. Because I had a lot of games where Mara would shield objectives or herself, or after the Rels had swung with everybody, Mara would just go and target strike rogue squadrons with 3 unit damage. You're dead. You're not shooting next turn. You're dead. So I think for the games I had against rebels, I think I lost and won about the same amount. So I think I'll probably play it the same.
Right, that's the question I was going to ask. Were there any games that you thought you'd lost and then you hadn't?
Yeah, he's going to hate me for bringing it up, but I had to play against my brother in the Swiss rounds, and it was a mauling. He stuffed my Jedi, and then I think his light side and my dark side went to time.
Yeah.
So he walked away with 4-1, and he'd been practicing it for several weeks beforehand, and it looked like a little gem. I'm not sure. He's on the Facebook group, but he's not on CGDB. It would be interesting to get other people's opinions on his deck, as it was a very quirky, interesting deck. I think Andy played it as well, and
yeah, very similar. Where he won as dark side, and then we went to time just because it took an hour to play the first game.
You're so used to playing against A or B, and then this comes out, and wait, it'd be like playing Anton. It's like, you have that.
Yeah. What?
Going through the discard pile, counting corrupt officials, and then I had to play against him again in the cut, and sat down thinking, I'll get this game over with, and I'll go and get the car ready to drive home. But I just did not expect to win it, and it was a very, very long game. I think we both had 7 or 8 cards in our decks at the end, and I eventually managed just to edge my way through, playing it slow, very, very slow with the Jedi. I would have preferred to play against his light side with my dark side. I had to be the light side I didn't want to be, so that's how good his dark side deck was. Very, very good deck. It's a very, very scary deck. So kudos to Stuart. He got top 8, but unfortunately it was me or him. So good games.
And the last question on the list, and unless anyone else has got anything they want to add, JP, if you had to, any of the decks you saw or played against on the day, if you had to give them an award for best deck of the day or original deck, which one would it have been? I know my answer again.
Just thinking about this, and I'll not say his name because he may or may not want that said. The chap who had the best credits can buy in his dark side deck.
Yeah.
And he had some interesting smugglers with the recent smugglers with the 0-cost pilots. Oh God, I need shooting. I can't remember the set.
Breaking the blockade. I came up against him in Swiss, and I took him out of the top cut. So.
Yeah, he was. He had some very interesting. He made some interesting, and he's a very good person to play against. Spoke to him since then on like CGDB and that, and he's a very, very good guy. So looking forward to playing against him in the future. And
I think he's a Thrones player first and foremost, isn't he?
Yeah.
So it's great to see that the best players of these other games were willing to stick around and play the Star Wars as well, and do so well and make it to the top. So it's good.
Was that the guy who won the Thrones?
No, he was playing in the night before because he hadn't proceeded so far in the top cut. Because didn't we start when the cut was still?
Yeah, Thrones went to their top 8 or 16, and so we started a warm-up tournament kind of thing.
He had like a European Championship top 4 mat, so he's a very, very good Thrones player.
Yeah.
He mustn't have gotten so far on that day, and there was quite a few Thrones players. So
very mechanical. I think that's true of all the Thrones players I saw. They were not missing any triggers at all.
Yes.
That's
The-
something I need to learn, I think.
They'd picked a lot of cards that perhaps those of us who've always just played Star Wars may have thought suboptimal, and because they know every line, they pick a card and they're very, very good. And 10 years of Game of Thrones will do that. So
Yeah.
good guy. Hopefully see him again in the future.
Hope so. Any more questions for JP or any more comments, JP? Do you want to any thanks or any final thoughts on the event before we move on?
Just the general. I mean, it was a great day. Surprised to win. Happily surprised to win.
Well, yeah, worth noting actually, JP entered the top cut in last place. Yeah, in 8th. So top cut to 8th. JP was in 8th and came back. So that's no small feat in itself.
My favourite way to do things.
The hard way.
Yeah, man.
Good man.
Yeah. Kudos to. I mean, everything was brilliant. If next year was organised by the same people at the same venue, I'd be happy to do the same again. Yeah.
A huge thanks to everyone involved with organising it, either the hotel staff or Lee and crew at Gamerz Nexus and the guys at Esdevium as well.
Yeah, the new guy from Esdevium, he turned up as well, and he was there for the day. He's a good guy. So
yeah, so I think it's fair to say on the day the event was run flawlessly. And it's not often you say that about large card gaming tournaments and like the round pairings and the deck checks. That's like the first official event I've ever been to with a deck check. And again, that went. It added 5 or 10 minutes to your round, but flawless execution. So thanks again so much to all the guys at Gamerz Nexus and especially Lee and his crew. Wouldn't hesitate to attend another tournament run by you guys. So I hope you apply for more. Okay, I think, are we done with nationals? And again, you got to show us the trophy, JP. Show us the trophy.
Same as the regionals trophy.
That's the only thing that's lacking from my cabinet is a trophy in Star Wars. Yeah.
Oh, so good.
It's next to me store championship trophies.
Yeah. Good man.
But
Fab.
I'd say what you mean? It's not even glass.
Yeah.
When you get home, it's plastic.
Yeah. There's a good question. What did the wife say when you got back?
She was happy because she was following it on Facebook. Other people, I got a message of her before I could even message her. I've seen it on Facebook. You've won. Well done.
Good stuff.
And then she got home and said, "Is that it?"
Yeah.
The same box your regional one was in, because there's the little text on the cardboard box.
Oh yeah.
Can you remember it?
Excellence for something.
Achieving excellence. Excellence. Yeah. It was like same as the other one you had.
No. Oh, man.
Yeah. She's happy, and she's happy for me to go to Spain. So
Good.
I'm a very lucky man.
You are. Good man. Well, congrats once again. It's well earned, and we'll see you at Worlds as well. You've got accommodation at Worlds now, so good. All you guys over the pond will get to see JP and hopefully get some games in against him. So fab. Well, let's move on to the next section. A bit more relevant to what's going on with releases at the moment. Rogue Squadron cycle recap, gents. So we've had the final pack, Jump to Lightspeed. It's recently hit our shores here in the UK. I think the guys in America have had it for a few weeks longer. Guys, I guess that I'll kick off with a couple of questions. Dave,
Yes.
we'll start with you. So Rogue Squadron, the cycle's out in its entirety. For you, did it live up to your expectations maybe a year ago or 9 months ago when it was announced?
Sort of.
Sort of. Okay.
I think it's met my expectations in terms of what it's done for the game, but perhaps not in exactly the same way I'd expected it to. I think the pilot decks didn't really emerge until sort of pack 4 or 5, at least in the cycle, of being good enough. And a lot of the, like the early survivors pod and things like that, and the Jedi.
Yeah.
I think we only got one Jedi pod which had a pilot in, which kind of makes sense because they're not really the vehicle faction. But why was that in pods 4 or 5 and not in an earlier pod, why did we get? I guess early on there's quite a few things in there that didn't really seem to be anything to do with the theme of the cycle, and we had to wait till later on to get the stuff. But I think altogether it's kind of added up to a good pack.
Come together, like that's a good example. Like Ran was an amazing pod that came pretty early in the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, this is a good cycle. It's doing great things for the game, not necessarily for vehicle decks. It just made Mono Jedi yet again a powerhouse. So yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Good point. And that's an interesting one that we might have to, if we ever get to talk to a designer or anyone else from FFG, just trying to understand. I have no idea how they look at a cycle and decide what order it comes
Split
out.
it up, yeah.
That would be an interesting question, actually. Anton, how about you? Thoughts on the cycle as a whole?
Pretty similar thoughts to David. I same thing. It was great the way it all came out, and I loved the different changes in the meta. But when we first heard Rogue Squadron, I wanted ships, and there's ways you could have had it in all the factions, I'm quite sure, but I was more disappointed. I can accept not seeing it in Jedi, but I was very disappointed not seeing it enough in Scum, or not seeing it in the way I thought I would see it. I thought I might see, because we've seen a lot of Scum stuff in the X-Wing game. I was thinking, well, God, we're going to get these ships, lots of pilots and everything, and it just didn't come at the right time. So
we were just hoping for swarms of like Z95s and pirate bases and stuff.
Yeah, or name bounty hunters and their ships like Dengar and that.
Yeah, nothing on the horizon. Nothing even spoiled for those kind of guys yet, is there? For the bounty hunters. Okay, well, moving on then. So, Job Hall, favorite card from the whole cycle, or objective set if you can't narrow it down. But if you had to pick one, what would it be and why?
Uncle Owen.
Yeah.
Because it's so stupid. It's
It's just like
2 health, man.
Yeah.
As soon as the first time I'd say it, you have to have Vader out. 2 health.
It is. Yeah.
But then it's the first thing I'll do is put it in my Jedi deck. But when I'm playing against it, 2 health.
Yeah, can't just kill it.
Yeah.
No.
And then when I'm the light side, of course it's got 2 health. It's that blue milk. But yeah, Uncle Owen, Jedi Holocron, yeah. That card, every time I've seen a card spoiled in the cycle, right from the Rogue Squadron X-Wings themselves up until, even Thrawn. First time I've seen Thrawn and Thrawn's reaction, I was like, whoa. But then when I saw Uncle Owen, I was just like, what?
Yeah, it's a double take. When you realise he's 2 health and you don't sacrifice him, he gets shuffled back.
Shuffle him back, so you look back to check his health and you realise he has 2 health, and then it's just like, wait, this guy cannot be removed. And then if you're playing against Scum, he's got a pip, you can stick him on the Force and just
hold it.
Yeah, he's very. And then when I saw the rest of his pod as well, it's a support set that has a bit of blast tactics.
Yep.
An event that's not bad. And it's a fate card.
Not bad. Not bad.
It's got 2 pips if you need it regied.
My lord.
It costs 1, man.
True.
Yeah, good set. And the objective and the Sith objective in the same pack had that where you put 3 cards under. It was a nice new, Uncle Owen and Uncle Owen set for me.
Yeah. Dave, what about you?
I think Boba Fett was my favourite.
Ooh.
Maybe not his whole pod. I think they could have done something a bit more interesting with the other cards, but the reusable capture on Boba Fett is amazing, and I think the kind of the rogue rush deck that we thought, so rebel rush deck that we thought would come out of this did come out of it, but kind of what came out that we didn't quite expect is the Vader Boba sort of pilot tricks deck, which I think gives the dark side quite a new, interesting place to play, and it seems to be doing reasonably well in some events. And I think the control element and the fact that it's restricted to non-equipment as well is quite good, because it gives, you can build your deck around not being captured by Boba Fett as well. But if you don't, then you know
then you're going to get punished for it.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be that's one of my favourite cards actually from the cycle as well. So I'm glad you mentioned it because it's one of those things you are going to have to keep an eye out for the rest of the game. I think it's you're just going to get capture by Boba is going to be an answer at some point. More capture. I think it's still not quite there as a deck theme to base an entire deck around, but it's not going to be far off, I don't think, now.
Mm-hmm.
But like you say, the ability for you to play around it as the light side player is good. But I think, just keep your eye out on those capture decks with Boba in, because as we've seen, one came out and instantly got restricted because it was ridiculous. So those combos are going to be, creeping through the woodwork, and I think Boba's going to be involved in quite a few of them. So, Anton, how about you?
Well, like JP, I was going to pick Heroes and Heroes Beginning, but more so because it gave me a chance to play Jedi sets that I didn't play before. I've made very good use of getting Obi-Wan's out and using him, and that his lightsaber saved me quite a few times during the Nationals event. So having him in there, and I've also been playing Moldy Crow and lots of other different things with the Jedi. But what I'm most disappointed about, because one of my new favorite sets, and I know a lot of the American guys are saying the same thing with this latest pack that's come out, Guri set is if you saw me on Friday Night Force Struggle, I got demolished by it. So it is my new favorite set.
Yeah, fair enough. I think that's a bit like you say for the Blue Man being amazing, but not because of what he is, but what he allows. It's the same with Owen. Just
opens more doors, doesn't it?
Obi-Wan saved your ass a few times, both of you. Like the number, like JP in one of the finals matches, I think you had Owen recycle some ridiculous cards back to hand.
Yeah.
I think was one of them a twist? Did you keep getting a twist back or something? I can't remember. But yeah, so just having you forget how good Obi-Wan is, because you just, again, because we've played since the beginning of time, we've just got used to Obi-Wan being in the he's too expensive pile. But then with Falcon and with Owen, suddenly that's not an issue anymore.
It's first turn.
Yeah. So yeah, it's so good, and I think for the same reason, I think Owen for me, I would have said if I was to answer this question, the Rogue Squadron X-wings. They're such a pain in the arse. That ability to just remove all damage and all focus, having 3 health, and
they came out straight away, so they were kind of the poster boys of the cycle for quite, and then everything else snuck up, and one of the Rogue Squadrons nightmare, and one of the ones I'd been crying for a long time was a 3-cost unit with 3 pips, and we finally got that with Sate. So he was a nice unit, nice set as well actually. But we've got a lot of shiny new toys that a lot of people had asked for, and we got some we didn't ask for, and we're very happy to get. So
So
great cycle.
Moving on to the next one, probably a bit harder for everyone, so you might not all have an answer for this. But were there any cards that, with it being called the Rogue Squadron cycle, that you thought might get included but weren't? So we've already touched upon, like named scum bounty hunters. Anton, any thoughts on that one?
I think there was a big call for a dark side event cancel somewhere. I think we know we're getting one in the Endor cycle, but I think we all were hoping for one in this cycle just to put a stop to Yoda, but we didn't get it.
Yeah, there's some tricks that the dark side just flat don't have access to still, isn't it? And event cancel is one of them. So, but I don't know. Is that one of those things that they should never have access to, with it being it's not a linear game for both factions that don't have access to the same things. Like light side are probably never going to get real access to any real capture.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be faction specific, so only like one faction will have, and from the looks of it, it's going to be Imperials that are going to have your event cancels.
The denial game. Yeah. Okay, Dave, anything for you that you would have hoped to have seen in the cycle but didn't?
I don't think my knowledge of Rogue Squadron is extensive as some of you guys. There wasn't anything there that I thought. I mean, I'm still waiting, which hasn't got anything to do with Rogue Squadron specifically, for them to print a good Jabber. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, yeah, good Jabber. Well, yeah, because there's not even a spoiled anything on the horizon, is there? And it's unlikely you'll see anything in Endor to do with Jabber.
Not really.
Unless they try and tie it into the
whole film. Yeah.
the whole film.
Yeah. I mean, I guess there's a rescue at the start, isn't there? Could be there.
Maybe. But yeah, he's one of those characters. You've got 3 Yodas, for God's sake. we need some more. The Dark Side needs some more reprints of different characters. I think you've hit.
Rogue Squadron needed another Yoda.
But no, I think you've hit upon something there, actually, Dave. That there's not that many reprints. I can't think of any off the top of my head for Dark Side. There's one Vader. Oh no, there's two Vaders. Two Vaders.
Yeah.
There's 3 Vaders now.
Yeah.
No, pilot Vader.
Pilot Vader, Navy Vader.
Yeah. But there's no Palpies.
Fistful of Luke's.
Yeah. Oh, there's a couple of Bobbers as well. Actually, I'll shut up. Yeah.
They've announced Palpy for Endor, haven't they? They're going to do a new Palpy and a new Executor.
Oh, Navy Executor. Is it?
But I don't think they've specified. They just said it's getting a new version.
Yeah.
3 cost.
Win the game. Done.
Yeah.
JP, how about you? What would you like to have seen if you were Eric Darman, or you were last year's Worlds winner, or if you're this year's Worlds winner? What would you go for? Something you missed from Rogue Squadron?
My knowledge of the extended universe isn't as vast as some people's. I've played out of the games I've played and that kind of thing. I was I was happy and I was impressed. I thought it was a lot better than the previous 2 cycles. It's almost a shame they have to name a cycle as if it was just called Cycle 3.
Yeah.
People wouldn't turn around and said, well, it should have had more ships or should have had less of that, more of that. Rogue Squadron was only for the rebels. There's 6 factions in the game, and every faction came out of it good. If I was disappointed, it's whoever came up with the idea to put the 2 good Sith pods in the final 2 packs.
Right. So it comes back to how do they
decide? I was thinking about when you had, maybe it's how they spread out the resources. Like, how did they spread out the stay on targets, that kind of thing. It would be a bit unfair if 3 dark side pods in 1 pack had stay on target in.
and then no light
and then no light sides till pack 5. Perhaps that has a factor in the decision making. I don't know, but yeah, I was a lot better in the last cycle balance wise, and the Hoth cycle better.
Good answers.
Happy.
Good answers. Like I say, maybe it was just unfortunate that it was called Rogue Squadron, and put too much emphasis on. Yeah, we're really going to get Rebel decks, and the Rebel decks did come out of it, but it skews the opinion, doesn't it? You think we're going to get loads of fighters, and that's it. When actually Rogue Squadron did a hell of a lot in the extended universe, not just in their ships, out of them as well.
Yeah, I'm aware of the characters. I mean, Wedge and what have you, and a lot of great books and stories about them, and but not enough information to do a cycle for 6 factions.
Yeah.
I know.
I think the name's quite emotive though, isn't it? It's better than Echoes of the Force. I think, like, to get people excited and go, I want to buy those cards, I want to buy this stuff. You go, Rogue Squadron, okay, that's pretty cool. That's people flying fighters. But Echoes of the Force, you kind of go, what's that all about? Or even the Hoth cycle,
Rogue Squadron cycle might have made it more appealing to probably Star Wars fans who don't play the game already, but I thought at least the Echoes cycle, every faction got one of the resources, the 2/2s, where if you hold the Force, you take a token off, and that summed up the Echoes cycle, and a lot of Force, I don't know, I mean, it was good. It was a good cycle, but...
So we should have called this the cheaper pilots cycle.
They
all got the 2-for-1 resource. But...
it's a new rule. We have to include a rules sheet cycle,
Yeah.
which cycle 4 is called that as well, because there'll be a mission rules, I believe, in every pack.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So I think
Endor.
Endor.
Is
Endor,
everything on Endor?
Well, that's it. I like this. So far, everything that's spoiled is traded Endor, isn't it? Like literally everything.
Well, like David just said, they've announced there's a Palpatine. I mean, Palpatine was never on Endor.
He's near it.
He was pretty
Close
close.
by.
Yeah.
He was orbiting the moon of Endor, right?
But will that
Or
be
was it-
treated as Endor?
He
Or
became shrapnel over Endor, didn't he?
it burnt up in the atmosphere?
Or, as Spike said, hit the windscreen of the Falcon and then slid off. For me, I think and I know he's not Rogue Squadron, but
Honorary member.
honorary member. We need. And I'm speaking probably on behalf of Neil, one of the guys that we test with, and is local in the UK. We want a Porkins. The game deserves Porkins. Red 6. I don't think there's not even a Red 6 in the game, is there? There's a Rogue 6.
There's one thing that was annoying. I thought they would include some of the named characters who were popular in the X-Wing game. We didn't get a Hull Runner.
Oh yeah, no Hull Runner.
No Hull Runner. Hull Runner summarized the Navy faction in X-Wing for about 2 years. She was in pretty much every list for X-Wing. That did remotely well.
She's in Armada as well.
She is a crew card, so you've got the art for her as well.
Yeah, I was really expecting to see that art pop up in this cycle, and I was just like, it's not here.
No.
So no Hull Runner, no Porkins. And we didn't.
No Biggs either. Big moustache.
Biggs, man. Yeah. He could have some interesting reactions if Biggs was in the card game.
It'd basically just be Protect, wouldn't it? Surely.
It'll be like it could be like more Mauler Miffles, Protect but ignore the Fest or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Well piloted, but yeah.
Enhance this fight with a moustache.
Win the game. Enhance with a moustache. If you also have a moustache, you win.
He could have a reaction when a unit would be destroy Biggs instead, and that protects ships against Force Lightning.
Not bad. Not bad. Are you moonlighting on the design team there, JP?
You heard it here first. 2021.
He's already designed his world's card.
Yeah.
Biggs, that's my world card. It's Biggs.
Good man.
Force Lightning Protect.
So we might have already touched upon it when we've expanded our answers a little bit, but what were your thoughts overall on the cycle then? Where does it fit in terms of the Hoth, versus Echoes, or versus some of the deluxes? What do you think? Do you think it brought something to the game that wasn't there previously? Do you think it's had a positive, a negative impact? Do you like the decks it's made come to the fore? What do you think? Anton, how about you?
It was definitely a positive, and I'm going to say because we not just for what was in it, but we got consistent packs over the year, and it just managed to fall this time during the different tournament seasons. So therefore, we did see a nice gradual change from each tournament that we played in. So there was nice deck diversity as we went through the year. So it was great to see that.
Dave, any thoughts from you in terms of?
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that at the start of the cycle, only like hardcore people were playing Rebels, and by the end of the cycle, we're seeing big level events with half the field made up of Rebel aggressive decks, and the Sith dominance that we've got, it is still there. I think with Thrawn added in, so it might be Navy affiliated now, but also I think that dark side pilot deck has made enough of an impact. It might not be tier 1, but it's certainly pretty close with the Vader and Boba that is pushing it, and I think it's mixed things up. Because I think before the cycle, the light side were playing Jedi with maybe a bit of Smugglers, and now they're playing Rebels as its own standalone deck, and the Jedi decks have changed, and maybe Smugglers is taking a break at the moment. But I think it's certainly shuffled things up and changed things around.
Yeah, Dave, I think you're right. The Rebel fighters they've been brought up as one of the more powerful decks now. If not, I think if Jedi aren't your playstyle, Rebel fighters are probably the most powerful deck you can go for, and they can certainly hold their own. And I was surprised not to see more of them at the Nationals, JP. I think you ran into a couple.
Yeah.
I ran into your brother running them. That was it, I think. But for me, the cycle, I think it's just showing that the design of this game is maturing a bit. There's a couple of things that got FAQ'd pretty quickly, but the cycle didn't break anything. It kind of gave every faction some more tools. And again, you were speaking earlier, JP, about the FAQ and what a good job that's done. So I don't know if that's something you want to elaborate on as well.
Yeah, I mean the FAQ came in about mid-cycle, between the 3rd and 4th pack, I believe, and that rectified a few issues that were still hanging over from previous releases, predominantly between the sheets and the echo cycle, between the shadows. And the echo cycle, and it also contained the trainer procedures and Boba Fett restriction, which was very bold of them to turn around and just, we're going to nip this in the bud straight away. We're not going to give it 6 months of rampant behavior. We're just going to stop it before it starts. And outside of that, the cycle was a very, very good, well-designed cycle. A lot of stuff had nothing to do with the title of the cycle, but everything was. It just looked like a bunch of designers who had just been learning, and the way Rogue Squadron improved on the past. If Endor's even of the same standard, we're in for a good Endor cycle.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it could be even better because it's going to have a new Palpatine. So.
New Ewoks.
I don't know about that,
Palpatine. If it had a new Vader as well as a Palpatine, it could have been really, really good.
You've already got 3.
I don't. I've only got 1. Sif.
True. Well, I think that wraps up our thoughts on Rogue Squadron. Unless anyone else has any final parting shots. No, it's a good point to hop off then. On to Endor. We've got some spoilers.
We do?
We do. And I think when we had some spoilers on the last one, and Dave, you made a bit of a... Again, it was a shot into the dark, just asking the designers to... What were you asking for?
Unique Ewok.
Yeah. And we've got Ewoks! YubYub! So that does kind of explain why Dave and I are dressed like this. Anton, it's a Monday.
I've been like this for how long?
Yes. 29 years, Anton. 29 years. So, yeah, we have a pack from the Endor cycle, and we'll kick off with the objective. It is... so, again, I think we said there's 6 cards in a cycle, in a pod. There's 3 of you, so I'll read out all the text and then leave it to you guys to discuss. Objective, neutral, 5-1, light side objective. Warriors of the Forest is Endor traded. Each Ewok unit you control gains an edge-enabled blast.
Yes.
So an edge-enabled objective damage. Dave, with the fist of power.
Yes.
Thoughts? Yeah, I mean, you're the Ewok king around these parts.
Ewok king.
Off you go. I
prefer Chief, I think.
Chief, okay.
So I've been playing my Ewok deck, which has got all 7 Ewok pods in at the moment, and then Endor Luke, because it says Endor on it. I'm waiting for the cycle to plop it out. The main problem that deck's got at the moment is actually finishing off the game. Ewoks have got a lot of tactics and shields and, funeral pyre can lock people out, but actually they're very short on objective damage. And this pod gives all of those units an extra objective damage. So they're perfectly fine at running in and focusing out Vader or Palpatine, getting them out of the way, and then doing 1 point of an opposed damage each.
Did you just say they're short on objective damage?
Yeah.
Legend. Sorry.
Well, short help is better than no help at all. Right?
That's true.
So this card answers that question. All those Ewok hunters that say we've got tactics now also say, and once we've focused you out, we can do some damage getting through the gaps that we're left behind.
Guys, Anton, any thoughts before we move on?
I'm just glad it's edge enabled. I'd hate if it was just pure black. I was like, oh god,
Mm.
Ewoks everyone. Oh. But yeah, it's great for Ewoks, and it's probably going to be a great start for those. Because we've already got, like David said, we've already got 7 pods. Whack this in there. Ewoks start running in this cycle straight away.
Mm.
So it's a good start off point.
Not a one of, and it's neutral. So we've not seen any neutral pods for a while.
No.
So they're back
Neutrals
on
are
that.
back.
They're back with a vengeance. Ooh, baby. Okay, moving on. Card number 2. Wicket W Warwick. Unique 4-cost unit. 3 force pips. 3 health. That's a beefy Ewok. He's a character Ewok. He is neutral. He's got 2 black unit damage and a blast and an edge-enabled blast. And he has reaction. After this unit is declared as an attacker, place 1 focus token on a target enemy unit with printed cost 3 or lower. And he's, I don't know if I mentioned, character and Ewok traded.
The
Anton,
best trait.
Ewok.
Reminds me of Mini Thrawn in some ways, just with his reaction. It's great.
A little bit.
Yeah. If I have to say one little minor disappointing thing about Wicket, is he's not free cost.
Yes.
I think me and David talked about it beforehand in conversation. Really want a free cost Ewok to trigger off that objective.
Oh, for the impersonating a deity. Yeah.
And Wicket would have been a really nice one. But hey, you can't complain for that icon spread, putting him on the force. Is he the first neutral main in the game, I think, now? I can't remember any mains being in the neutral set.
That's a good shout. He might well be. I can't think of
Yeah, from a neutral. So you've got C3PO, who's sort of a main and neutral, but he's not in a neutral set.
No.
True.
No. This is. See, I love the fact that like just little things like his full name is there, the Wicket W Warwick. So it's one of those things where if Jabba names a card and he goes Wicket, you go no.
You forgot the dot.
That's. But yeah,
Not sure that would wash in a tournament.
Write down the name of the card with all the punctuation. If it's right, you'll get it.
That's against the rules, isn't it? You're not allowed to write down.
No, actually, true. JP, any thoughts on the furry man himself? He can do everything. He can focus. He's got 2 black guns and a blast.
I think he's really good. I don't know why you would even want him to cost 3. I think he's well worth his 4. Brilliant. He's a good unit. Stick him on the force or edge him.
3, yeah.
Yep.
3 pips is a thing.
And if you run 2 of them, you know if he's out, you've got another card with 3 pips on for the edge battle. So yeah, I like him. With his objective out, that's 2 unit damage black and 2 blast damage white. So
Just thinking of other cards I would run with him, and Lando pops to mind.
I was going to say like if you're running impersonating deity to get the smugglers, declare him as an attacker, pull him back out, send him back in. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby.
I guess I'm going to feel bad because obviously I love Ewoks, but when I was reading it, I think he's a bit anti-synergistic with himself in a way, because it's when he attacks he gets that tactics. Not tactics, but he gets to focus someone out. But then he's got 2 black guns, which are best on the defense, really. So yeah, the fact he's only got 1 objective damage, he costs 4, and he doesn't say I'm Luke Skywalker or what have you. The light side options at 4, what they've got there, they've got a lot better stuff than this guy, I think.
You got to remember though, Ewoks are shaping up to be the kind of the deck in Star Wars where. Or one of the decks in Star Wars where they just all help each other out.
Yeah.
So his icon, for me, the biggest stat on him, the 2 biggest stats on him are his edge and his 3 health.
Yeah.
There's so many things, like the objective, an extra blast. There's going to be characters out there that do protect Ewoks. There's going to be, give an Ewok tactics, give an Ewok elite. They're all going to, if you've got 4 or 5 out on the board, they're going to be a bit like slivers are in Magic the Gathering. They're just
Yeah, I thought
Just-
Ewoks are going to be the sliver deck, aren't they?
Yeah.
They are. And when what gap they had between designs, I do not know, but obviously impersonated deity happened. So now it's like they have to be very, very careful what cost 3.
Yeah.
And once the whole of the Endor cycle's released, it might be very, very easy to make Warwick have 10 icons for all we know, with all the rest of the stuff that's about to come out. So, but it's going to be very, very difficult to make someone cost 3 in an Ewok deck.
Just noticed one more thing. Sorry to interrupt.
Yep.
But I think on other Ewok cards they are just Ewoks. They're not characters. Whereas Wicket is also a character.
True.
I think
True. So you can trigger him with Cloud City Operatives, for example. Yeah.
I think they are characters, aren't they?
I'm
pretty
sure we'll see the next one coming up.
I'm pretty sure everything that's not a vehicle or a droid is a character.
It's either a character or a creature, isn't it?
Yeah.
I might be completely wrong, but
But I think
Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to force choke them. You can definitely force choke them.
True. So, but it's solid. I think we're all in agreement. Solid unit. Maybe could do with a few extra icons, but he gets them from other Ewoks, and from them his objective. One thing that's also just sprung to mind is Boosh and Snoova are going to love this guy.
Yeah, that's been one of my all these. Obviously, we've got Jedi Ewoks and we've got Smugglers Ewoks, and this whole neutral with going back to neutrals out Boosh and Snoova.
Yeah. There does seem to be a bit of a theme that they've made that out of faction term. I think someone else had a spoiler from. It might be in this pack where it was an out of faction thing that it triggered on. Is it a mission that destroys all out of faction characters or something?
Yeah, Flip and TGO, I think. Yeah, the mission.
Yeah, I think that's like, is that not some kind of, it's a company policy thing now with FFG, isn't it? They've done that across all the games. They've like, it's a kind of rebranding of how each of them works.
The game terms a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So,
What I'm hoping for is an Ewok faction affiliation card. It just makes all your Ewoks on faction.
just have a neutral card.
Done.
They should have that neutral affiliation card, Ewok, or the Bright Tree Village, or whatever you.
That'd be interesting. That'd be, be very niche market of just Dave.
It's a booster pack with one card in it. It's $9.99 neutral affiliation card.
Cool. Well, moving on from Wicket, we've got the next card number 3, and yeah, you're right, Dave. It's a character and an Ewok, so it's a neutral 2-cost, non-unique Ewok warrior. 1 force pip, 2 health, a black objective damage, and a white gun. Blank text box. JP.
Yeah. So this guy could have 2 blasts with his objective out.
You can go search for him.
Yeah.
Black blast for me in a light side deck is always good.
Black blast with 2 health at 2 cost. Regardless of any other synergies you come up with in your deck, if you can pay 2 and put a black blast on the board.
The number of times you in that last turn of the game where you're just digging for a blast.
Yeah, just that one blast. You're one off. It's strong. I mean, I've always had issues with neutrals, but which it's Ewoks, it's going to be neutral. Kind of complain about that, but yeah, it's a strong card. You kind of you 2 cost, 2 health, a black blast. I'd happily pay 2 for that.
Not unique, and like I say, you can double it up and get a second.
You can if the dark side destroys an objective and you get this as your 4th object, you can bring them out. And you're gonna have 2 of these in your deck, so yeah, great card. I don't know what the other guys think of it, but
for me, I'm really intimidated by that spear. The art is great. It's like coming right
It
out.
really is. You're like,
he looks like he should have like 3 units.
Dave, you might want to sharpen that a little bit. We can make that into a GIF so easily.
But I'm thinking with all this, with getting the extra damage and having the black icons, the suddenly native support card really becomes important. So you can get these guys double striking, like remove shield, remove a focus. Suddenly they're taking out objectives.
Well, I guess before we go too much deeper into the set, Dave, Anton, JP, what clear synergies are there with Ewoks? You've got the remove focus, you've got extra blast from this objective. You can go search for them with impersonating deity. What else is there?
You can
Ewok
sacrifice.
From the other spoiled pod.
Oh, is that cheaper?
Yeah, it normally costs 7, but you can reduce it down to 3, 1 less for each Ewok you've got.
So that's brutal. Sack with.
Well, you don't have to sack them with Funeral Pyre, but Funeral Pyre comes to mind, and then also the actual objective, like having more Ewoks on the board, is going to give you 3 to the force.
3 pips to the force if you've got 3 or more Ewoks.
Yeah. So it sounds like they can do everything. You can go search for them. You can make their powerhouse units cheaper. They get better at holding the force. They can double strike.
Oh, don't forget Corsair. You can pick them up from your discard pile if you want that particular Ewok back. I'll just discard this card I don't want and get the correct unit. Do I want tactics? Do I want black icon blast? Do I want you not to be able to block me? Yeah.
So there's plenty going on.
Even before you look at all these other sets, just within the set itself, if you run 2 of these, 2 of those Ewok warriors at a total cost of 4, in combination with the objective, can take an objective out 5 damage. 2+2+ unopposed.
2
potentially
neutral chuds.
Yeah.
Before you add in shields and recursions and tactics, and just within the set itself, 2 of these guys can take out an objective. So
when I was playing a game the other night, and out of nowhere I got YubYubbed. And it's like, you what? You're taking my resource away? Oh my god, my game fell apart.
They do have tricks and again, it's one of those things that they fell to the bottom of the pile until Dave started playing them 9 months ago, but now their thing. And we all knew Endor as soon as Hoth Cycle was announced. We were all like, right, give it a couple of years, Endor will be there.
Yeah, well, it's devastating though, because once Laura came out, everyone thought it would be all the Wookiees with Laurik's Laura gives a black blast.
Yep, I think so.
To every Wookiee, and then now this is out and all Ewoks. Ewoks are going to be dishing out more damage than the Wookiees.
As it should be. But George Lucas decided, right?
Yeah, military geniuses and. Oh dear. So moving on, card number 4. Now this could get silly. So
this is what we're all currently enhanced with. Right?
We're correct. 0 cost enhancement, neutral, 1 pip, part of the tribe. It's a title enhancement. Enhance a character or a droid. That could be big. Enhance character unit gains the Ewok trait. So yeah.
Wait.
So all that synergy, if you decided you wanted to chew in your deck or a low Rick for some reason.
So Endor Luke, who can discard enhancements to double strike, can now also be an Ewok with an extra blast.
Yes.
So you can have this on him. He can get an extra blast when he's attacking. You can use
tribal
support and just unfocus an Ewok Luke. And then you can strike again, and then with the extra blast, and then you can discard this and strike again.
Yeah.
Endor Luke can win a game on his own in 1 turn. Yeah.
He's a beast. I mean, anything else that springs to mind as crazy, like...
Not as crazy as that, but I mean, you probably want to play Leia's pod, and turning Leia into an Ewok it's good for you.
Yeah.
She's got one of each icon, hasn't she? Black tactics, making that reusable. It's good.
Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, this is effectively 0 cost. Make the 7 cost unit 1 cheaper.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
As long as you've got a non-Ewok to play it on, yeah.
I'm also thinking in this pack, Han Solo, we've got him coming as well. So you want to run this with Rebels, and he's got ways of unfocusing himself, give him some extra blast, and he's got missions as well. It's gonna get crazy.
Yeah. And is this one? This is the first time I could be wrong. It's one of the first times we've seen trait addition. Is it? I know we've seen shielding and protect being stripped from the Moldy Crow, but I can't think of anything else that said make this unit
Something else.
a trooper or
Gains a trait. Don't think it's happened.
So it's a great design space, and you've seen the first card we've seen is a 0 cost neutral one. Give something a trait, just that simple, and the power it could potentially have.
It's so thematic as well, though.
It's the artwork as well. It's perfect, wasn't it? What they were made part of the tribe did make sense.
Is the head of security card? Is that a title as well? It doesn't add a trait, does it? But it's a title. Can't remember.
Might be.
I don't know. I don't think it adds a trait.
Okay.
But
I was just looking at
the title. Yeah.
The trait title. Just seems, what title have you got? Well, I'm part of the tribe. It doesn't seem like that glorious a title to have been bestowed with.
It worked. It worked for them. And just like Han says in the flavor text, just what he always wanted. Done. But yeah, so there's plenty. I'm sure this is one of those again that as more and more Ewoks come out with more and more synergy, the ability to just go, we'll add this really strong character or droid into that synergy pot and just keep mixing.
Yeah.
Bonkers. I think even when you're desperate, put this on C-3PO, especially the smuggler one in impersonated deities. You get tactics and blast if the objective's out. Suddenly he becomes a bit more potent than you would expect.
Yeah. Freeholders that are Ewoks that can double strike.
Anything with shielding on to combo with the shielding objective.
Mental. Such a good, and again, not overtly powerful in and of itself. You need to add other stuff into the deck to make it useful. But there's going to be some great combos that come out of the back of that card, I'm sure. Cool. Moving on. Secret Objective. I think this is another version of a card that's already been spoiled by Flip and TGO and the card fans on the FFG site. But it's a Fate card. It's the Light Side Fate 7. 3 Force Pips. Secret Objective. If you are the attacking player, you may choose an enemy objective that you have not engaged this phase. If you do, you are now engaged with the chosen objective instead. So it's very much like Luke's Speeder kind of shenanigans.
Yeah.
3 dots.
3 dots, man. Battle of Hoth.
Battle of Hoth. And sorry, Dave.
So I was going to say, Luke, you can attack the same one again, effectively, can't you? Whereas this,
yeah, you can. So the rules are you're only allowed to declare an attack against an objective once.
Yeah, but with Luke's land speeder, you can shift to something you have already attacked. But with this, you can't because it specifically says you can't.
Yes. Yeah.
You have to have not engaged it.
What you could do is attack somewhere, shift with this to another objective, and you've still not declared an engagement against it. So then you can
attack
declare
that objective
another
afterwards.
one again.
So it's like if you declare an attack against a full health objective with 2 blasts, then switch it to an objective with 2 health left.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, but
so there are tricks, and I was guilty of this trap a little bit again with Luke's Speeder, in that I didn't put too much stock into it when it first came out, but then I just started playing with it and saw the tricks, and you could, especially with it having a tactics and things like that. But going aside, it is a very powerful effect if you play it right. Anton, you're scrunching your face. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the upcoming IE meta, the Imperial Entanglements. We all know that we got this Enforced Loyalty and Tarkin's objective, and they are very difficult to get around, and people at the moment looking for answers, and this might be just another way of it's going to be tricky to play it right. You've got to really and to make sure you try and get to where you really want to go, but this definitely helps.
And if this fake card is going to be as rampant as Battle of Hoth or Stay on Target, you could have 4 or 6 of these in your deck.
Yeah.
You could hit whichever objective you want.
Probably winning the edge battle with them each having 3 icons.
Yeah.
Done? Done. It's not as overtly powerful as things like Seeds of the Decay, I don't think. Or Twist, obviously, but it's 3 pips. If it was just 2, I think I'd be sitting here going meh. But it's got a really reasonably powerful effect that good players can take advantage of, and it's got 3 pips. I'll take that. And moving on to the last card in the pack, it's a mission. It's a mission. It's a neutral.
We'll turn our heads to the side as we.
So it is 1 health, 1 pip, neutral mission. It repel the invaders. So for anyone who's not up to speed with what these kind of cards are, so you're the light side player, you'll pay 1 resource to give this to your dark side opponent effectively as an objective. So they'll put a 4th objective on their stack for you to attack. You can see it's got 5 health, and it also generates them no resources. So it doesn't really give them a benefit. It's a 4th objective they have to defend. If you blow it up, it still counts as one of your 3 that you need to get for the game, and it will still trigger any other objective destroyed mechanics. But missions usually have some extra text which mean you want to attack them. So in this one, it's Endor traded. Only Ewok units can be declared as attackers against this objective. So another reason to have part of the tribe. You can let someone else go for this. Reaction. After this mission is completed or destroyed, the 5 health, return up to 2 target enemy units, each with printed cost 3 or lower, to their owner's hand. Dave.
So only Ewoks can attack it?
Only Ewok traded units can attack it. Yeah. Can be declared as attackers. You could potentially drop some stuff in through edge battles if they can come into play during the fight. But when you declare the engagement and send in attackers initially, that can only be Ewoks.
But you could switch it to it with the mission card, with the fate card.
Yeah.
YubYub. So yeah, you could send everyone at something else.
So Endor Luke goes swinging with 17 lightsabers at the objective that does nothing, and then we're going to destroy, repel the invaders, and your royal guards who are unbelievably undercosted at 2 with 3 health and protect character, and I'll bonk them back to hand.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's not even non-unique. So even some of those smaller unique guys that cost 3.
Saints.
Yeah. Your Bushis, your Snoovers.
I think it kind of forces your opponent to defend with those lower cost units up front, doesn't it? And not save them back, because otherwise they're running the risk of losing them. I don't know. I'm thinking of, can this work with smugglers? Can you get your sleuth scouts and your blockade runners going with this? And you run in either they, because as soon as you blow this one up, if you can switch your sleuths into attacking this, and then
and then there's nothing left to block the sleuths.
Nothing left. I don't know if Ewoks and sleuths have enough synergy, but that's what I was thinking of initially when I saw that. Get rid of all your opponent's cheap units.
Well, sleuths for me, they're always going to be one of those annoying, because it's one pod.
Yeah.
That you just any deck you could. Your brother did it, JP. You just put sleuths in, just random other decks and go, oh, okay, well I've got Han, Chewie, and a few sleuths. Just because if you've not got 2 cost blockers out, sucks to be you.
Impersonating the deity Ewoks, they're smugglers, aren't they?
The pod is smugglers, yeah.
The pod, yes.
But are they units smugglers?
Ewoks are neutral. The Ewoks are neutral. C-3PO is a smuggler, apparently.
And then the event is smugglerable at 0 cost. So
rat action. Yeah.
So I don't know. This
Seeds of Decay.
This is really this is making me think specifically this mission. Layers pod, because again the ability to just put damage on every objective that's and unit that's not been used. They won't be putting focus on this objective.
Yeah, because it can never be exhausted.
So unless they've got anything to move focus around, so it's just an extra way of getting a bit more value out of layer.
Would that be?
That's Layer's command, isn't it?
Yeah. I have to check the wording on it just to make sure it's not each dark side objective, but I'm sure it would work.
It just says each ready unit or objective, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So.
Oh no, each opponent
It's not a massive deal. It's not going to win you the game, but it's each time if you can get Leia to, do 4 damage to objectives instead of 3, if they've not used their objectives, but just a bit more value.
I think just in general with missions, like Anton was talking about with the Tarkin's objective, where you have to pay 2 extra to actually be able to attack it. Just putting extra missions into play means I can still get 3 attacks off this turn rather than 2.
Yeah,
that I'll be stuck with. So just being able to increase the targets you can hit means, well, I'll hit that. I don't think it's going to go through,
but I don't need it to.
It just stops me from having to pay 2. And if it does go through on this one, I can always shift it with a edge stack card. Or
Good call, actually. Good call. And the effect to once complete, take 2 guys back to hand. It's not as powerful as some of the other ones that we've seen. like I think it was destroy each out of faction unit.
I mean, I think,
but
it's all about the matchups. Some matchups that you're really going to hurt people. Like a Navy fighter deck, you're going to send back 2 interceptors with piloted Vaders and Fells, and
the 181st.
Actually, making pilots fall off is strong, isn't it?
Against Sith, you're going to send back a QI security team. Yeah. But I wasn't impressed by the mission and the mission's reaction, but it's a good start to potentially. I mean, if that's a mission that doesn't give the dark side a resource, I would love to see what's going to happen to a mission reaction that does give the dark side a resource, or vice versa.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that one that has a resource.
I guess
board wipe.
If you've got this going on, mid to late game, actually shoving 2 lower cost units back in your opponent's hand can stop them getting through their deck. Running off smash this objective, you pick up those 2 royal cards. Yeah, you might just want to replay them again, but it stops you drawing into your other stuff in the deck, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if they've got Form of the Jedi, it might not worry them too much, but shoving your opponent's hand with low pips cards that they then can't get rid of without just a bit of stall potential.
And again, I think it's one of those things. Missions, they're new to us. I've never played with them. The pods obviously aren't out yet, so it's one of those. I think we've just got to get them in until we've actually got them in our hands and tested them and seen the interactions with what we can do. Is going to be able to declare 4 attacks a turn. That might open up some stuff that just no one's thought about before. I'm
looking forward to. I think Anton mentioned it. It wasn't in the last video, but it was on the Facebook group. It was just when Navy can win the game in 1 turn with 4 objectives out.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see happen. But let's see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Anton, any closing thoughts from you before we close out the pod?
I just keep thinking about the just attacking with Ewoks. There's got to be something with that. I don't know if there's some more tricks further down in the Endor cycle that prevents you from defending against Ewoks, and that could get a bit crazy or something. But overall, I'm pretty impressed with this. I mean, it's great for the Ewok synergy, and it's gonna, like I said right at the very beginning, you're gonna start running straight into this cycle playing with your Ewok decks. You don't have to worry about waiting for half the cycle to come out before you finally get that deck. This pretty much gives you something to run with straight away.
Yeah. Did you see you had 7, David? 7 Ewok pods?
Yeah, currently.
So you could, first pack comes out, you've got 9.
Yeah.
Put 2 Lukes in, you've got 11.
Magic number.
Anton's new deck.
Magic number. But yeah, there you go, guys. So some more Ewoks. Hope you're as happy as we are, and especially Dave, the chief over there. So yeah, neutral. I think it slots into any light side pod you want to really have a stab at. Really, you can get that synergy going, and especially if you're already running Ewoks, like Dave is, then have a play and enjoy. But thanks to FFG for sending the spoilers. I know Dave will be eternally grateful that we got the some Ewoks to do. So before we close out the show,
send more Ewoks.
Send more Ewoks. There's got to be more.
We need to take the shield generator down.
Oh, we want the Palpatine spoiler.
And £1,000. But yeah, thanks again to FFG for sending the spoilers. We're eternally grateful for everything you guys do and keeping us involved in the community and being able to share this information.
Yep.
Thanks again to Lee and the guys at Gamerz Nexus for the UK Nationals. I couldn't have hoped for a better event, and it was just perfect on the day, and I couldn't ask for a more worthy and a noble champion than JP. So, making him blush. Yes. Sweet. On that note, it's bye from me. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
We'll see you next time on episode 3. Cheers.
And by the way, if you fancy some Highlander action of the Star Wars LCG, come down to Loughborough on the 15th of October at 7:30 p.m. at Weekend Warlords. That's limit 1 for every objective in your deck. Come and try it out against the field down in Loughborough.